The influence of globalization or Westernization on African identity. Wow, we are back again with phase 2 or part 2 of it because we couldn't finish it the last time. Hello everybody, you're welcome to the Lifestyle Show here on New World TV. Thank you all so very much for your support and love. I still remember your girl EJ, the host for the show. And as usual, we bring you basketball discussion every day or every time. So you guys shouldn't forget to always follow the Lifestyle playlist on New World TV. Like, subscribe and keep sharing. Once again, you all are welcome. We are here to finalize the discussion regarding this very particular topic, the influence of Westernization on African identity. And with me here in the studio are still the same people that were here last week. Mr. Luke.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming back again. You guys already
bringing us back again.
You want to introduce yourself again?
Oh, you already know me now. Anyway, my name is Luke.
Yeah.
And I'm in Nigeria and I'm an IT specialist and also a lecturer.
Thank you very much for joining us once again. And then we have Mrs. Dede.
Hi, EJ.
Hi. She's always beautiful each time she comes here. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
It's really an honor having you here, ma.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure also being here on this platform. Great platform, by the way. My name is Dede Atiogbe Adeje. I am a translator, conference interpreter. I am a gender activist as well, national president of YWCA, an NGO that educate, promotes and empower young girls and women in the society here in Togo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. Okay, and then we have Mr. Emmanuel. He's a student. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Miss
EJ.
All
right, guys.
My name is Mr. Emmanuel. A student and a lecturer. So.
Oh wow, that's good. You're welcome. So you all are very welcome. Thank you all very much for coming. Okay.
Thank you.
Like I said, this is a final episode regarding this very topic. Now, Mr. Luke, I have a question for you. Okay, let's just go or dive right into the question. Okay, question 1. How has Westernization influenced African religious belief, and what are the consequences for traditional spiritual practices?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So I want to go deeper.
Yes,
so if you're going to permit me. And when we talk about Westernization, one of the main agents of Western civilization in Africa, the first thing we need to talk about is slave trade. They are the main agents. We had slave trade, we had colonialism, and then we have the missionaries. They are the main agent of Western civilization in Africa. So you see, when the Europeans came to Africa, they had their game plan, and one of the first things they brought was the missionary. Okay. So they were coming to teach us about something totally different from what we used to have.
Yeah.
In Africa, we have our traditional religion, and then the Europeans came in with Christianity. They came in with Islam. That's a Muslim, the Islam religion. Now, the Christianity was based on what we call the monotheistic belief. Okay. That is a belief in one God, that they have one God. And if you look at it, it's similar to Islam, which is monotheistic. That is, we have only one almighty God. Yeah. Whereby we add the system of a polytheistic and animistic religion. Okay. Whereby we believe, in Yoruba they have Ogun, in Igbo they have their own Amadioha. We have different gods in the land, and then we have a way of worshiping these gods. We have a way of sacrificing things to these gods. We have our own belief system, our own traditional worship. Now these Europeans brought in this religion, and then they started changing things in our system. For example, you see that there are some people, because of our belief, we now have erosion, manipulation of our own religion and erosion into our own religion. So a lot of people are trying to sync our traditional religion with Christianity and Islam. Really? So for example, yes, you will see some people in Nigeria. Let's use Nigeria for an example. I'm from Nigeria. Okay. They try to sync Ifa with the Islam religion. Okay. That is, we call it synchronization of religion. Okay. Right? They want to sync it, so they will use they call them Alpha. I don't know if you guys you've heard of Alpha. They will use the Muslim chant to call, and with traditional approach to do incantation, right? And then the same thing with Christians. We have I would say some some churches in Africa, we used to call them, we call them white garment churches, right? If we look at what they are doing, it is traditional religion, right? But we call it, this one is Christianity. Somebody is bringing in idol into a place of worship. Somebody is believing, Christianity. Let me talk about this now. Christianity, we have, different rules in Christianity, what we call commandment. And one of the commandments in Christianity is you should not worship any other god. Idolatry. And then we have a lot of churches today. In a lot of churches today, what they are practicing is idolatry, which is what we have as traditional religion. So they are also trying to sync the normal African traditional religion with the Christian or Islam religion.
When you talk about this lot of churches and you say they sync with traditional religion, how do you mean? Is there any form of practice of theirs that is in relation?
Yes. If you are saying somebody should not worship an idol, then you have an idol casted in your premises. Is that not idolatry? Okay. It's not the same as traditional religion that we have our forefathers carving sticks at their backyard and they have different images at the backyard and they have to go and pour drink.
We call it image they carve. Is it not something related to God or something like that?
It is not. When you talk about Christianity, it is not
Jesus or
it is not. It is not.
You're saying it doesn't depict.
It is part of the rules in Christianity that you should not worship an idol. But in Africa, what are we seeing today? People are syncing Christianity to traditional religion. So we are actually confused in the system.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mrs. Lee, what do you have to say regarding this?
Well, I think he said it all.
Okay.
On this particularly, I would not like to say anything about it.
Okay.
So I'll just wait for the next question.
Emmanuel, do you have anything to say regarding
All right. I agree with most of the thing Mr. Luke said.
Most?
Yes,
all
most
right,
of the thing he said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're talking about Christianity or religion in Africa, if you look at it deeply, you will see that it is not making sense.
Okay.
Yes, it is not making sense, because if you ask yourself, okay, I want to ask you this rhetorical question now. Before the emergence of Christianity and other alien religion in Africa, where were the sinners, which we know to go to hellfire today, where were they going to? Yes, you think about it. Now, you have to understand that if you go deeply inside of this, you see that religion, the emergence of religion was related to colonization. First of all, in 1884, right, a man called Usman Danfodio came from the Asian parts to Nigeria to come and deliver Islamic religion. So what were they practicing before then?
Wisdom.
Yes. So if you think about it, it's suffice to say that alien religion, it is not the only way for life.
So you're saying that our birth religion in Africa is the traditional religion.
Exactly.
Yes, what our forefathers practice. Yes. Today we now believe in what we call men of God, right? In Africa, a lot of us, I'm sorry, Mrs. Zedea, I'm sure that is why you don't want your pastor to see this. You don't want your pastor to see this. A lot of us, we so much believe in our men of God instead of us to believe in our God.
Yes, exactly.
Back in the days, our grandfathers, they were not believing in their native doctor. They were believing in the gods. So they will always pray to the gods. But today somebody will say, I want to call the name of God of this. I pray on the name of God of this. I pray on the name of God of Abraham. Recently, I saw a video, that was yesterday. A Nigerian pastor, even you have Ghanaian pastor, you see a lot of illicit activities in the church, right? I saw a Nigerian pastor, people were worshiping the car. They will kneel down, lie down flat. But in our traditional religion, we have rules and regulation, that will guide you to know how to even offer sacrifices.
Right. Sorry to just add to this, right? Do you know that if you make your research very well, I'm a researcher, okay? You notice that the first ship that came to Africa to carry slave from what's this woman, Queen Elizabeth, the name of the ship is called the Jesus of Lubeck. That's the name of the first ship that came to Africa to come and carry slaves. So what do you call that kind of?
Sure.
Yes, so
it's
Mr. Luke is actually right.
No, okay. So sorry.
I want
us to hammer on this point. It's something we are all running from.
I know we are running from it, but then we have limited time.
Yes, and sorry, just to add to what you said, who is the main head of the church in England? He's a king.
Yes. And
the king is the head of the. If you look at it, is their tradition.
Yes,
it is their tradition. If you check the coronation, go and watch the coronation video of the king. You will see that this is purely an European tradition. The way they were bowing to the king, the way they have knights. They have different section, archbishop in the church. They have different sectors in the church. So it is their tradition. We have our own tradition, and this they are trying to force their tradition on us.
Okay, Mr. Look, hold on. Sorry. Thank you very much. I have to cut you short right now.
Well, I have something to say.
Okay, please.
In that regard. Well, what you're saying is true. Nowadays, it's true that we have some churches that are, let me say, deceiving people.
Okay.
They are not Christian nor
Muslim.
Traditional.
Okay.
They mix everything together, and I'll say they deceive people. But we should not forget that Christianity, also has a positive aspect. Back in the days, we have some harmful practices, whereby when a child maybe is not is abnormal, for example, they say that child is an evil child, so they have to take that child into the evil forest. There are some practices whereby maybe women that are widows, they have to get married to their late husband's brother. There are some traditions due to Christianity.
All those things
all those things
taken away.
Were taken away.
So there's a benefit to Christianity.
There is a benefit to Christianity, and those who are real Christians, it shows in their life that everything they do, they go according to the commandment that he said. You understand? So as a Christian, I didn't want to talk on this because of my belief. I didn't want to talk on it. But I just want to say that yes, it's true that as African we have our own traditions, but Westernization brought Christianity and Islamism. They have their positive aspects, and those who embrace the positive aspects
are good example to the society. All right, thank you very much. Wait, Mr. Luke, just leave her alone. I have question for Ms. Didi.
Okay, no problem. I don't.
Yes, actually,
I don't want to.
It is
the same. Some of these religions that we are calling, they brought in same-sex marriage.
Yes.
And this is not something we've been practicing in Africa. And some of them, they brought in a certain belief that if somebody says this, then you have to kill the person, because it is not
what's happening in Afghanistan today.
Yes,
there's a way you talk about Islamic religion and you be killed. Why is it supposed to be like that?
So we have we have what we call religious extremists. Okay, we know. And like you said, we have our normal traditional African religion that supported human sacrifice. Those days. I also agree with you in a way. Christianity has also brought in a bit of change in terms of those.
All right, thank you very much. So Ms. Dede, your question. Okay, we are almost behind time. Okay, what is the role of technology in spreading Westernization and its impact on African identity?
Okay, thank you for that question. When we talk about technology,
yes, please.
One cannot talk about technology without mentioning globalization.
Yeah.
And when we talk about globalization, we are living in a global village, and we are interconnected, interdependent, and we are living in an interwoven world.
Yes, please.
So because of globalization, today we have access to internet. Technology has impact on all aspects of our life, be it political, be it social, be it economical, be cultural. In all aspects of our life, technology or globalization has impacted it positively and negatively.
Okay.
So if we talk about the impact of that globalization on our African identity, we will say that if I positively, I'll say that today communication
has been made easy.
It's more easy. Transportation has been made easy. Even talking about your personal development. You can just be in your room, do your research, and then, I mean, you are connected. You learn more, you upgrade yourself, you add value to yourself as a person, you know. And you can also be in your comfort zone and do all other things thanks to technology. And today we have importation, exportation also. Thanks to technology, a lot of things are happening. You can just order your parcel from America and Amazon will just deliver it. And all these thanks to technology. Those are some of the positive aspects. Now, when you talk about the negative aspect, today, even the way we dress is influenced by globalization. Some, when they use the African fabric, they are shy. You know, they think that if you are going for a big conference or a big event,
their personality.
Take that suit, you know, you wear it, and then I mean, you are the person.
Right.
But I mean, we are proud of our African fabric. You should portray who we are. We should show who we are. The way we eat, you know. In my house, when I pound my fufu, you see me having my clay, how do you call it? The clay
pot and everything. Right?
You know, I serve my food in it, and my husband enjoys it.
Right.
You know, let's always bring that touch. We should not lose our African identity. Who we are, wherever you go, people should see you and see you as an African. And let's not be, overshadowed by technology or by globalization. That's what I can say.
All right, ma. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Emmanuel,
all right,
your question, please. How has Westernization...
Sorry, I wanted to talk... I thought you wanted to bring a follow-up question to what she said. Okay.
No, I do not want to bring a follow-up question.
I want to talk about it because, technology, in a way, the... Western media, what they are selling to us through, that's movies, music, and fashion trend. We have a whole lot of negative aspect part of it. In fact, we now have what we call hybrid generation. We have somebody who marry an American and the person will totally forget about home. And we have cultural erosion. Where their culture is now
what is being practiced here, and we've forgotten ours.
So, for example, I don't see why, because of what we see on television, what you see is what you start believing gradually.
Of course.
If you constantly watch and you listen, to it, that's what you start believing gradually. For example, we have our normal traditional wedding. Right. How did we get to this white wedding? If I check pictures of our, forefathers' wedding, it's just normal Ankara attire, Ankara clothing, and then they are done. They will pay the bride price, and then they are done. But then you see somebody is hosting white wedding. They will host white wedding. They will host reception, and then they will host traditional marriage. At the end of the day, they end up spending, much. The same. Western media is also selling same-sex marriage to us. It's also selling pornography to us today in Africa, which is not something we are used to. And then you have just young kids in secondary school, primary school, because they are having access to a mobile phone. They can just go into the internet, and then they will have access to everything. So you see a lot of them without good behavior, and then the same social media and technology is selling drugs to our kids today. Right. I don't want to go more into it. We don't have enough time. Maybe some other time.
Zede, do you have anything to say? Just quickly.
No, I mean, he's right.
He said everything.
He said everything. That social media today is killing a lot of people, a lot of young people. Instead of using it as a blessing, it's becoming something else. So he's right.
All right. Finally, Mr. Emmanuel, how has Westernization shaped African economic system, and what are the consequences of local industries and entrepreneurship?
All right. I must start by saying this. I don't like anything Western life.
Okay.
Right. I don't like anything Westernization.
All right.
Like she said the other day, there's a difference between Westernization and civilization.
All right.
And to just add to what they just said, civilization didn't start in outside Africa. It started in Africa.
Right.
Egypt.
Yeah, it started in Egypt. It came out. So have you asked yourself how people that were not civilized was able to build the pyramid. It started in Africa. Now, when we are talking about it, it has drained Africa in terms of economy. It has. Now we have imposition of capitalism. You know what's capitalism? Capitalism is a system of government that the means of production and distribution are handled by one person. It's not like in the pre-colonial era where we have egalitarian societies where nobody is bigger than anybody. Now we have companies in Africa, Nigeria that are individual, and sometimes it affects the average man in that country. For example, in Nigeria, allegedly, the power plant is not controlled by the government, and see we don't have lights like the other African countries. Are you getting it? So we have neocolonialism. If you notice that something that happened last year in Niger Republic, they wanted to start, France wanted to start extorting the what's it called? The natural resources of Niger, and there was a coup d'etat. After the coup d'etat, then pushed France out of their country. Are you getting it? Right. Now, so all of these things are things that have been affecting Africa in terms of economic. So we also have exploitation of natural resources, like I just said. You notice that as some of our African people are not that educated, you see that they don't have access, or they don't have the mindset to start how will I put it, to extract their own natural resources by themselves. You do know that some African organization or some Africans or African region are all under the United Nations, okay? Not all of them. It's just few that isn't. Yes, but not all of them. So if we're talking about this, what you're saying right now is almost impossible for a single country to stand on its own without the influence of the United Nations. We are talking about the continent. When you look at when you look at the GDP of Africa alone, that of England or call it Great Britain is higher than the GDP of Africa in total. If you check, and we have more natural resources than these people. We have more natural resources, but don't forget that these people are also the ones helping us in terms of technology. Yes, exactly what I'm saying. You can also help somebody with technology without having to exploit that person of his natural resources. How do you want to pay back? Was Dubai having technology? Hold on. How do you want to pay back? You pay back in a normal way. I hope you know that some African countries are owing like mad debts. The most indebted country in the whole world is the United States, and it's not an African country. So owing is not the criteria. So how does an African country want to pay back if they give you they give you globalization, or they give you no, you don't say you don't say they give anybody globalization. I mean, they give you like industries, they create all these things. Yes, so how do you pay the normal way? How you pay the normal way? I'm not saying you should not pay. For example, if you are doing something for me, I'm expected to pay you. You know that some of your pay more than some of your leaders, some of the African leaders are corrupted. These things you talk about is from us, so it's not from them, because to begin with, your ancestors has already sold your birthright. It's 2 ways. Sorry. Do you know what happened? Do you know what happened during slave trade? Yes. I understand what you're saying. I'm saying that I'm not supposed to pay you more than you are doing for me. But at the moment, you know that he was talking about hybrid generation, and now we don't know what happened in Nigeria, for instance. How did Nigeria gain its independence? Who were those that were there when it was signed? Nobody knows. But it was after the oil was discovered, Nigeria gained its independence. The oil was discovered in Olubiri, and after that, suddenly Nigeria gained independence, allegedly. Wait, sorry. So when you're talking about this, it's okay. What you're saying is actually right, but don't forget. Do not forget this. You cannot borrow me 10,000 and expect me to pay you 100,000 or 1 million. That's my point. Who made the contract? The contract was not individually done. It's about the advantage. These people are taking advantage of us. Wait. Let me talk about. Sorry, Mr. Emmanuel. Let me talk about the Berlin conference. Right, let's talk about the Berlin conference. We are sorry, let me just summarize it to the Berlin conference, so that you know that this has been, they've already planned it right from time. These people had a conference, during the slave trade era. They came together, instead of I think that was King Leopold II of Belgium. They were having a fight, so they came together and they were like, instead of us to be fighting ourselves, let us come together. Look at that continent. That was in the era of industrialization. And no African was there.
Yes,
Africa was there.
Yes, it was a plan by Europeans. It was later on that America and Turkey came in, right? They were like, look at that continent, because it was their era of industrialization. They were having industries everywhere. Okay, but you need gold, right? And Africa is having gold. You need petroleum. Africa is having petroleum. They were like, okay, let us all come together. Instead of us to fight, let us go to this continent, and then if you know that you can take hold of this place, go there and take hold of it. Yes, now go there and take hold of it. And this was the agreement. They came into Africa. They were not fighting themselves. We are rather the ones selling ourselves.
Exactly. That's my point.
We are the ones selling ourselves. So right from time, it was a grand plan. So they will look for a loophole. It's more like a virus. They will look for a loophole. Let me say a worm. They will look for where there is an hole, there is an injury, and then they will feed on that place. So it's not really our fault.
My point is, Africans, we've always been, the only thing that keeps killing us till date is greed and corruption. It's greed. Face it and face it. Why is it that you people can't
enough time?
We don't have enough
to
time
digest this topic.
I know, but then see, let me tell you, no matter how you want to phrase this, we are not killing ourselves. You cannot tell me that if we are united, there'll be an influence. United we stand, divided we fall. That's a common phrase.
Look, stop it. They've already divided with religion. If a Nigerian man is
how do you think the religion penetrated Africa?
Wait.
What are we saying?
When Israel, Israel, right, and Pakistan were fighting, you notice that some people in Nigeria were supporting Israel because they believe it was a Christian country, and the northern people were supporting the Pakistan. Yes. So there cannot be unionism in terms of like religion.
Okay, now we have to wrap up this. I don't know how we are going to do it. I'm sorry, but then we have to wrap it up. But my own point is this: everybody has said what they said. See, it is although Africa, Nigeria, to even begin with, we've always had this division. Like we are not unified due to the cultural differences and all. So in Africa as a whole, average African man doesn't even like his fellow person, let alone unifying together. So all of this whole thing we talk about today has a lot to do with unity. If we are unified together and we have one word, you don't tell me that there will be penetration whatsoever.
No,
it is possible.
The Western world and Asia.
I know they came in with division already through religion, like we talked. But then it was still possible if we worked together. Now this is things that happened, during our ancestors' time and all that. Now I don't know how possible we can get back, because it's almost seeming impossible.
Yes, we can't keep pushing blame on Europeans.
We can't keep pushing blame and all that.
But my point is this, right?
Sorry. We can't keep pushing blames and all that at this point. We've finalized. Okay. So the question now is, I'm going to leave this question to the viewers out there to answer. We've said a lot, but now we're going to leave the question to you guys. How do we come back? How do we unify Africa? How do we ensure that this influence of Westernization, how do we ensure that it's being nullified? How can Africa unify or become one again? It is possible, we believe so. All we are saying is, if it's possible to have unity in Africa, and if there is, you'd see that there won't be that much of chaos in our own continent. I still remember your girl EJ. Thank you very much, Miss Dede, for partaking in this very topic. It's been an honor having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you also, Mr.
Thank you very much. You didn't give me enough time.
I know.
Hey.
I know. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel.
This is my topic.
I know.
I was not giving you enough time.
I know.
I want Africans outside Africa to come back home first.
Thank you very much,
Let's
guys.
make good use of the technology.
Exactly.
Yeah, let them come back home.
So until we come your way next week, please, guys, stay blessed, stay safe. Plenty love from me to you. Bye bye.